I'd like to share with you something that I have in my phone, and it's how we can pull up the copy of it and to share it with you today. I'm a part of a group that shares with one another about the red letter words of Jesus, and it's a group that's called That's What He Said. And if you look it up on Facebook, you're welcome to join. And this is from Matthew 25. We take a passage of scripture and a few of us will reflect some on it. And I just had to share with you how I reflected on this passage of scripture. It says this about Matthew 25. It says, I really want to share my freshest take upon rereading this just now. The thing that is sticking with me about Matthew 25 is about how far Jesus is asking us to go. You know, the food and clothing part of Matthew 25, when it talks about how, when have we ever seen you in need of this and in need of that, and Jesus tells us that when you have done this or not done this to the least of these, you're doing it to me. And that's the conviction of the passage in Matthew 25. And that food and clothing part of that passage of scripture, that's actually, and admittedly so, easier for us. I'm a part of a ministry here at Grace Harbor that feeds and clothes people, and that absolutely feels good, and we do well at that. We're doing that today as I'm recording now. They're setting up for that distribution. By the way, can I tell you that it feels even better when I get personally involved. So when I give jackets personally to people that I can no longer wear, that feels even better. When I leave them out on the table for people that are in the food line, and when I share things personally and individually, that is just so much more of a blessing. It talks about prisoners in this passage, the prison visits, and they're wonderful. They're difficult to happen right now because of the constraints of the pandemic, as all visits are difficult. I recommend convalescent homes, and they're difficult to access now too, but it's a great stepping stone to prisons, and sometimes just to think about how imprisoned people are in convalescent homes, and particularly imprisoned in their own minds, and what a blessing it is to visit them and share with them. We also have taken on a prison letter writing ministry this Christmas to give prisoners a Christmas letter, a personal letter. It's a great idea. So we can actually be creative about how we get involved in these things that Jesus convicts us about in Matthew 25. And it does bless amazingly, these letters, the visits, the clothes, and the food, and they're all right things to do. But then there comes the tough one, the one that challenges us to invite the stranger in. It challenges us to take people in. And I guess my first reaction to taking people in is it depends on how strange the stranger is, right? and it is. That's a daunting thing for Jesus to challenge us to do. And it just came to me regarding Christmas that when the innkeeper said no room, still eventually there was made a way. We need to address the homeless crisis around the world, and even in this country that we live so much in the lap of comparative luxury. There's a homelessness crisis that really needs to be addressed, but it can't be addressed unless the addiction crisis is also addressed and the mental illness crisis is addressed, and certainly with more effective solutions. That is a gargantuan task. but one that has to happen one life at a time. One bag of food at a time, one prisoner at a time, one jacket at a time. And when we don't find a way to do something, we will do nothing. And we literally, just like in the Christmas story, like with the innkeeper, we just almost like keep saying to individuals, as they're the representation of Jesus, no room. There is no room. We practically say, go away, go away. There is no room. And yet God makes a way when we will be his emissaries. And so we don't want to be saying no room to Jesus over and over and over again. Wouldn't that be convicting? We have to figure out how to make more room, one life at a time, for the least of these, especially strangers. Then this other thought came to me. Maybe it's why we hear such limited testimonies about angels. I used to hear more testimonies about angels in my younger life. I have more experiences with angels in my younger life. And I'm beginning to have them again. And I really believe that experiences with angels may not be happening, and there may be limited testimonies about it because we don't entertain strangers very often, nor do we take them in. It's just a thought about another way that we are separated from God and what he is doing and wants to do. Just a thought. Make room in your life to do what Jesus wants you to do for others. It will be a blessing to them. And from my own personal experience, it's even more of a blessing to me when I do.